on 1 second. Oh shit!
It's fine. I gotta share all this stuff.
For some reason, I lost my show sheet
We are live.
window. That's fine. We're doing it live.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
You poop
Doop
mouth, bro.
doop 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 doop. Good show. Good show, everyone.
Poop, poop mouth. If I gave you money out of my wallet, would it make you feel better?
Doop doo doo doo.
All right, I'll give you like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and we'll roll in. How's that sound? Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. We are here to talk about week number 3. Just another week in the books already. We're almost a month into the NFL season. We're starting to see some trends. We're starting to see some performances really stand out. I'm looking at you, Miami Dolphins. Sure, 70 points today. Cut it out. We'll talk all about it. I'm here with James and Tyler. James, you didn't have your Giants play today. Probably a good thing. You're licking your wounds after Thursday night. I get it.
For sure.
How was your Sunday?
It was good. I watched the Cowboys lose, so that's always a plus.
Always a good. You know what? Those Arizona Cardinals, very scrappy. That coach, he's got his stuff together out there. I think they made the right choice. I mean, I was kind of scoffed at it at first, but
They got their fire in their gut.
they're playing hard for
The
him.
fire
so-
is in the gut.
Fire
in
in
the
the
gut.
gut.
Tyler, how's your fire on top of your head?
Good. I do need a haircut if we're gonna talk about that, but
Same.
no, things are good here. We literally had no rain for months, and then we had my daughter's birthday parties this weekend and got a ton of rain. Like, it was just raining all day yesterday. Yeah, it was a weekend of losing. We lost our soccer game on Saturday. The Falcons lost and the Vikings lost. So there we go. You know, 3
Yeah.
strikes and I'm out of here.
Fun fact for you, in New England this year, out of the 16 weekends we've had in the summer, it has rained 13 of them in some way, shape, or fashion. So Pool Dug was in storage. So don't be too jelly, Tyler. Okay.
No pool dug.
It's
That's why
officially
he-
fall as well, so
Yeah, first day
you
of
get a
first day of
pass
fall.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
I got a new costume, by the way. I hope you guys know. I got one of the costumes where it looks like the alien is kidnapping you. It's a blow up one.
Oh, God.
The alien's got its arms around you, and you look like a child.
Did I
It's-
sign up for the wrong fantasy football podcast?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
check
like
out
no,
Tyler
fantasy
on his
podcast.
other fantasy podcast.
Fantasy inflatables.
It's all about
.com.
aliens and furries and whatnot. It's quite a hit.
It's quite the hit
Yeah.
in that genre.
Also sponsored by Manscaped. Didn't know if you knew that or not.
That's true. And Blue Chew.
and Blue Chew. Oh my God. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome in. Make sure to like and subscribe. We are here every Sunday night between 8:30 and 9, typically, depending on what's going on. So thank you for joining the channel. Drop comments in here. We will address them as we go. We don't have a ton of viewers just yet, but we love the banter that goes on in the chat sometimes. So make sure you chime in while you can. Like I said, we're going to review week 3. But before we do that, I want to review my underdog teams. I did the 5-player parlay, $10 to win 200. Yikes. Not a good week for me. Not a good week. I lost $20, but whatever. It's just $20 of, whatever. But underdog is awesome. That's the way I like to play underdog, is going in, doing a 4 to 5 leg parlay every week. I've gotten close. I know Tyler got really close last week.
I hit
got
a couple.
close.
I hit a couple
You
last
did?
week. Yeah.
Awesome. I missed the famous one. David Montgomery needed like 4 more rushing yards last year, and I missed out on $200, and I was a little sad.
Throwing couch pillows.
Yeah. So, but the underdog's great for those. You can do regular daily fantasy with the NFL on underdog as well. You can also do baseball, which is wrapping up shortly. But hockey and basketball are going to be back at the end of the October, middle of the end of October. So you got those coming back. So just more different ways to play on underdog. Make sure you go check them out. Use code DHH. They're going to match up to $100 right away. So if you got $50 to put in, you get an extra 50 on top of it. You have $100 to play with right away. And you can do it however you want for how much you want. I'm a small stakes guy typically. When I play DFS, I love like the quarter arcade, things like that. I'm not a big, I don't bet big to win big. It's just not my personality. I bet small to like maybe win something cool. I don't like losing money. What can I say? But Underdog gives you the opportunity. If you want to be a baller, you want to test your knowledge, you can do it on Underdog. Use code DHH. Get that up to $100 matched today. Let's get into some news. We've got a signing. Obviously, the good news for Nick Chubb, all his MRI information came out. He had a torn MCL, a partially torn ACL, no knee dislocation. It doesn't look like a career ender. Probably best case scenario for Nick Chubb,
100%.
other than avoiding injury altogether. But the Browns, we knew they were going to probably sign someone. Jerome Ford was their feature back again today. Scored a couple of touchdowns, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But they signed Kareem Hunt to a 1-year deal up to $4 million. They'll probably slowly work him in. I'm not in the camp that Kareem Hunt's a threat to anything. I think he's kind of washed at this point. So if he has a big game, I'm trying to pedal him off my team. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, 100%.
I'll second that 100%.
I mean, Ford, I've had questions about, and I actually traded him away in a league.
You traded him to me.
Yeah, well, that was a long time ago.
This was over the summer.
Recent. Yeah, this was recent after the big games in UDPL, but I dealt him, and it was just because, it's a running back. He had no value, and then now he's got all the value, like a second-round pick worth value. So might as well capitalize. But he looked really good, especially against a Tennessee Titans defense that is really stout against the run. I thought he looked pretty good. I mean, let's not forget, this guy was a high 4-star recruit going to Alabama and then transferred to, I think it was Auburn?
Cincinnati.
No, Cincinnati. That's right.
Yeah, he was with Ritter.
Yes, and played very well for them. So very high recruit, very talented guy. It just finally getting his chance. And also, in that trade, Doug, that you are in that league, I got offered Nick Chubb in that trade, and I declined it thinking this was probably his career.
Ooh.
Idiot right here. Probably
stupid.
The worst mistake.
Was he a throw-in at that point?
Honestly, it seemed like it.
Oh, my God.
And now his value's probably bumped back up to second. It's still going to be a long road ahead for Nick Chubb.
I think Nick Chubb doesn't miss any games next year. He's an android.
He's Adrian Peterson. He's this generation's Adrian Peterson.
Isn't he open contract next year?
Yes, they could cut him for literally nothing, and they need cap space a lot, like big time. So New England Patriots, here comes Nick Chubb.
Maybe a lower contract due to the injury. That might be something as well. So
Nick Chubb's going to be one of those running backs that, like, say the Vikings are just like, okay, Alexander Madison, you're not it. We'll figure something else out. Cam Akers, maybe you.
And that's a good segue because the Minnesota Vikings traded for Cam Akers this week. Familiar with their coach Kevin O'Connell from their Rams days. Obviously Akers fell out of favor with McVay, not only last year, but again this year. He's finished last year strong, but struggled a little bit to begin this year. Obviously, the biggest thing with Akers coming off the Achilles, looks like he's going to be the guy that could say, like, I had an Achilles tear and I came back and I was good. That's what we thought at the end of last year. Going to be interesting to see how he does with Minnesota because guess who still has a fumbling problem, even though he didn't turn it over today? It's Alexander Madison, who had a decent day on the ground.
Saved his ass.
They saved his ass.
Two plays.
Who fumbles more every week? Is it Alexander Madison or Antonio Gibson?
Oh. It might be Antonio Gibson.
They're definitely fighting for that crown. Oh, and also Antonio Gibson was that throw-in piece of Nick Chubb that I decided to go with. So
and he fumbled again. He's fumbled every week.
He's so good with the ball in his actual hands.
He just
covered it
when he gets hit.
That's
it.
Like, he's so talented. It's just got to keep the ball in those hands.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Peterson had a fumbling issue for like 2 years, so maybe there's still hope for some players.
Maybe. I think the spot with Cam Akers, there was rumors of obviously the Browns maybe trading for him after they lost Chubb. A couple of other teams were in the mix for Akers. Minnesota didn't have to really give up much. It was like a pick swap in 2026 or some BS like that. So they pretty much it was like here. I'll be interested to see how they work in Cam Akers. I don't think the Vikings obviously fully trust Madison, and they realize that they have a hole behind him. Ty Chandler, he's a change of pace guy.
Like his job was on the
line.
Yeah, he's a change of pace guy. So I think Akers can come in and I think give them, not necessarily a missing element, but I think he can help Madison. And especially if Madison, the Vikings have 8 or 9 turnovers now in 3 games or fumbles.
7 fumbles.
It's crazy the amount of fumbles that they have. So there could be an opening for Akers. Obviously, if you roster him, you're just going to hold him at this point. I have a dynasty squad, which I had high hopes for this year with J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, and Cam Akers. Yeah.
So if you have any running backs that you were hoping on, all of them are dead. Like that's pretty much what this year is.
I have Pacheco,
going.
so I start Pacheco, and I actually had to start Chuba Hubbard.
So my favorite thing on Twitter today was seeing Isaiah Pacheco, noticing there's a disgruntled piece of grass lying on the field. He runs like he's angry at it, like it was the Arnold fist.
He runs like Sonic the Hedgehog.
He is so angry at everything. Like somebody could like sneeze and be like, "You son of a bitch."
He's from Jersey. I mean, that's what happens.
Very Thomas Rawls-esque. Isaiah.
Yeah, but hopefully a healthier one because he's actually very fun to watch.
Yeah, he is. So moving on, we did have some injuries to talk about today. NFL Network's Ian Rapoport is reporting that Derek Carr and his shoulder are believed to have an AC sprain in Sunday's Week 3 loss to the Packers. We saw Jameis Winston come in, not really do a lot for the offense, to be quite honest, but it's tough to come off the bench. Looks like Carr could miss some time with that, so that's something to keep in mind.
Put his eyeliner on.
I know. I'm here for YOLO balls to Chris Olave all day long.
Do it left-handed.
I can't wait for Jameis Winston because I still think he's good enough to be. I still think he's good enough to play in the league, and hopefully this is kind of his chance to be like, hey, I still got it. Like you were saying, I think he was kind of surprised by the whole injury and kind of came in cold, which is never a good thing.
Sure,
but yeah, Jameis with a week of preparing, I think should be just fine.
Yeah. We also saw Mike Williams forced to leave the game early and needed to be helped off the field, apparently with a left knee injury. He wasn't able to put much weight on it.
Yeah,
so that's obviously a situation to keep an eye on. Williams had 7 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown pass from Keenan Allen, of all people. So he was having a bit of a day. Obviously, if Mike Williams loses time, they really like Josh Palmer. He had a touchdown as well today. And then that would
late one to win the game.
that was such bullshit.
That would open up the window for Quentin Johnston to see more targets and maybe become a thing. I don't know. I've never been sold on Quentin Johnston, to be quite honest. But if there's any opportunity, this is the one that we all know Mike Williams is banged up pretty regularly. So if Williams misses a couple of weeks, let's say 2 to 3 weeks, and Johnston plays in his place and doesn't do anything, I'm on red alert. I'm on DEFCON 9 at that point.
You guys know I'm a bigger fan than you guys, but noticing that Palmer is getting a lot more playing time, which honestly, I still like Palmer. We were all fans of him.
They can play him anywhere.
And that's the thing. Like, he looks like he's leveled up a little bit. Like, this his way of playing. He kind of played softer his first year or two.
Yeah.
And this year, he seems like he's playing bigger, stronger. And Quentin Johnson, they're using him on short routes. I want to see them let loose. Like, send him deep because he's got wheels.
They're using Keenan Allen deep, of all people,
right?
This year.
And
it's crazy.
They're using him from the slot. I do think they want to bring Johnson on slow, and because he's a very young player, very raw. They want to kind of ease him in, make sure his confidence is still there. Because I mean, camp reports was all like, "Hey, he's actually catching away from his body." So yeah, I agree, Doug. I'm worried about the playing time lately, but I do think they really like Palmer and Quentin Johnson as their future two once Allen and Mike Williams are gone.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen having himself
year.
We talked about that before the show. I was heavily invested in Keenan Allen in my redraft leagues, and man, he is scoring some crazy points the last couple of weeks. And I love the 18 catches today, 200 yards,
and a touchdown toss.
Pass. Forget about it. It's beautiful out there for Keenan Allen. Not anything else really too noticeable on the injury topics. So before we get into the main topic and talk about week 3, I did want to tell you about Trophy Smack, which is always the hot topic because whether you play in fantasy football, you got baseball, like I said, hockey and basketball are coming up. Trophy Smack has everything you need for all those needs for your trophies. So you can get stuff for your winners. You can get stuff for your losers. They've got draft kits. Their draft kit for NFL season. Obviously, that season is past, but make sure you use Trophy Smack next year because their draft kits are a lot of fun, really high quality. Not a single sticker that I needed to handwrite, which is rare. Like almost never happens. So check them out next year for draft season on Trophy Smack for their draft boards as well. But just an awesome company with awesome products. I have one of their belts here at the house. It's probably not going to be too long because I think I'm going to be 0-3 in that league. So that's awesome. But when you check out Trophy Smack, use code DHHRing. You'll get a free $60 championship ring. Whether you want to give it to the high scorer, keep it for yourself, give it to the champ, that's up to you. Just use the code DHHRing when you buy a belt or trophy today. So, boys, it's week 3. It's open forum time. I've got some things that I saw today that I want to talk about, but I'm going to start. Okay, I'll start. From a dynasty lens, right? Tyjae Spears. I know the Titans offense stunk out loud, but Tyjae Spears is outsnapping Derrick Henry consistently.
By a lot.
To me, this is the Titans saying, all right, it's a slow change of the guard. Henry had the worst game of his career today. On any game that he's had over 10 carries, this was his lowest output ever for Derrick Henry. They're using Spears more and more. I'm not saying that Derrick Henry is going to be phased out or anything like that, but when we think from the dynasty lens, Tyjae Spears is a guy that I'm seeing his usage, and I'm going out and trying to acquire him because the Titans obviously like him. I know there's the whole knee thing, ACL. That could probably keep the price down a little bit, but wouldn't surprise me if Spears gets more and more involved in the offense as the season goes on. And then maybe they like him enough for like next year. Maybe he's their guy. Who knows? He looked good in the preseason. I like what I've seen. His college tape was awesome. He looked good at the Senior Bowl. He was like the all-star of the Senior Bowl. So for me, Tyjae Spears is that number popped for the second straight week. He outsnapped Derrick Henry. And for me, I was like, oh, hello. That's the kind of trends we're looking for. And we want to try to exploit when we talk about trades and try to acquire players.
So I completely agree because last week it was A-Chain who I was witnessing get a little more playing time, and
he just peaked.
And I saw Ahmed get hurt, so I'm like, okay, A-Chain has to get a little more carries. I tried trading for A-Chain all week with no success. Success. Because obviously the people who drafted A-Chain are fans of A-Chain.
They used a first-round pick on him.
Yes, like I actually tried Open Bar, friends of ours, J, Mike, and Gabe. I tried for him in UDPL with no success because they drafted him at 109, like very early for a lot of people, and they are big fans. So everywhere I was looking to get him, I could not because there's writing on the wall, just like there is with Tyjae Spears. And this is kind of what you got to do in season is read the tea leaves a little bit. Like there's obvious signs that teams are kind of going in one direction, and you've got to catch them early before it hits.
Yep.
Like right now.
That's the key. If you can see trends and like I said, and capitalize on it and make savvy moves, like that was the right move going after A-Chain, who, I mean, I doubt he has a game that's going to be better than he had today with 200 yards rushing and 4 total touchdowns. Yeah. Between him and Mostert, 70 points. There's only 4 occasions in NFL history, or 4 or 6 occasions where a team has scored 70 or more points. And they had a top 5 yards from scrimmage game of all time with over 700 yards from scrimmage. The Denver Broncos laid down and were dead.
Do you think Sean Payton's getting on that plane? Do you think he's actually getting on the plane to Denver, Sean Payton, or do you think he's just staying in Miami?
He might just stay in Miami, start walking to New Orleans.
Yeah,
it was bang on the door.
It was very bad, and Tua played amazing. Like that's not talked enough. Like I forgot who I was talking to, but I'm thinking to myself, is Tua there with Burrow now and Herbert? He should be. As long as he's
healthy. A trade. You traded what? Deshaun Watson straight up
for Tua before the season started.
Watson looked good today. So that was
the guy actually messaged by the first quarter and said, like, "This was the worst trade I ever made." And he's a Browns fan, so I get it for him. But he's just like, I should have never done that. And I said, "Hey, Watson's playing well." He goes, "No, like you can't make this. You can't make me feel better."
Watson did play well today. He looked more comfortable. He looked more like the old Deshaun Watson today.
The issue is against Tennessee's defense, which is bullshit.
but their defense the last couple of weeks has played well.
Against the run. Like, they're really good against the run. They are terrible against the pass. And another team that is doing really good passing the ball. James, you want to talk about your boy CJ Stroud a little bit? Who looks to be top tier?
I said that he was my go-to quarterback for stability, that he was probably going to have the best year out of this draft class.
So far, so good.
You were snagging him up at 104 in a lot of
104 leagues. In a lot of leagues. In the one league that, like, way pre-combine, I took him over Anthony Richardson because obviously no one knew anything in that time. But no, I got a lot of CJ Stroud shares, and he pairs very well with an entree of Tank Dell, who is just exploding on the fantasy scene.
I get it, like a tank.
Second week in a row. And I had to go back and watch this game because there were obvious mistakes that the Jaguars made on the field.
Mhm.
Big time penalties, drop plays. Calvin Ridley did not have a good game. They did not seem like they were on the same page. But I'm like, there was more to this. If you went back, Stroud was looking for Tank Dell every single snap, and it started from the beginning of the game. It's his first look, no matter where he is on the field. So this is exciting stuff going forward, and I'll clap for Doug because Doug's the one that pulled this one out of thin air in the offseason.
Nico Collins, holy crap! Like, so
Up and down, Nico Collins.
I remember Shane Manila, friend of the show. He was talking about Nico Collins. You know, people forget Nico Collins and Donovan Peoples-Jones were the two wideouts in Michigan their rookie year, and like people were saying Nico might be better than Donovan Peoples-Jones. Peoples-Jones was the number one wide receiver recruit his high school senior year, and Nico Collins wasn't that bad of a recruit. It's just Nico was always hurt, and then he comes in. People are like, oh, it's coming, and here we are. Like Nico, I get Tank Dell is kind of taking over, but I think Nico is such a viable piece of this offense. We thought this receiving core could be the worst in the NFL, and now look where we're at. They could be a great trio with Bobby Woods.
We saw Brevin Jordan get involved today, which was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So he's spreading the ball around.
Former Doug Eddie favorite, Brevin Jordan, by the way. Scored more points than Kyle Pitts today. But anyway, same draft class. So when the first thing I think of with Houston, and before we started most of our rookie drafts, there was a story going around, and could have been Narrative Street, but I was buying into it when CJ Stroud told the Texans to draft Tank Dell. That was when I saw Tank Dell slip to like the late third in rookie drafts. That's when I was going after Tank Dell because, you know, sometimes those narratives are total BS, right? And sometimes there's a lot of truth to them. This is one of those times where if you like, oh, like I'm kind of connecting the dots here and I believe in this, I'm going to spend third round draft capital, which to be honest, isn't much, right? In our rookie drafts, third round draft picks get traded very easily. You want to take shots in the third round. So with a guy like Tank Dell, hearing that is like, all right, well, the rookie quarterback wants this piece. And like James said, he's looking for Tank Dell. And Tank Dell was a baller in college. So I was invested in Tank Dell early on. And I love it when a narrative piece, which probably 90% of the time ends up being just total smoke and there's no fire behind it. But this one definitely has some fire. So if you drafted Tank Dell, you're reaping the rewards because he looks great. He had that long bomb that he caught today, which was awesome. He's showing speed. He's got pretty good route running for a rookie, and he's got that rapport with Stroud. So, like, again, we talked about the receiver core, and it's a lot better than we thought it was going to be. R.I.P. Dalton Schultz.
I mean,
oh, man. Yeah.
The offensive line for the Texans really showed up today big against Jacksonville, and it showed.
Considering all their injuries.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, he's thrown the ball 120 times so far, 900 yards. That
only
in
the third
itself
rookie quarterback to do that through 3 games
is something to really keep an eye on. And you know what? After a game like today, it looks like you can actually just play him throughout the season, depending on the matchup.
Stepping up into the pocket with that Tank Dell throw, how he threw it reminded me so much of Rodgers and Herbert, like the way they throw. They trust in their arm talent, and that deep ball, the way it comes off the hand is just like, okay.
So smooth.
It's
the smoothest deep ball in football right now.
It's good.
I've got a transition for you. The Carolina Panthers today, with no Bryce Young, their offense looked alive with Andy Dalton. They scored.
I know why.
They scored like 30 points. Are we worried about Bryce Young, or
No,
is it just rookie jitter? What is it?
It's the coaching staff only giving Bryce Young so many plays. They're not giving him the full
Dalton
playbook.
threw it, 58 times or something today?
And I don't know why. Bryce Young is a very smart guy. Like all we've read about is everything that he can do mentally, and honestly, he's probably just as good, if not better, as Andy Dalton, like talent wise. I think it's a Frank Reich thing. Frank Reich is holding him back. I mean, like, we're not going to run this play. because, we don't want you to overload or get hit or something like that. And with Andy Dalton, they're like, oh, screw it. You're backup. We can just give you any play, 5-step drops, and you can get hit as much as you want. Like, give Bryce a little more leash. Let him do things. And I think after today, the way the offense looked, and also it's Seattle's defense, who has let a lot of points up this year, I do hope that when Bryce does come back, we do see them open up the playbook a little more. But I think Bryce is fine. There's a lot of quarterbacks you can get for cheap, and one of them I am staying away from, and that is Justin Fields, because god awful. And it is a lot of Chicago and coaching. Like, that is a bad, like, that whole entire coaching staff should be gone by tomorrow.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine that's a big Bears fan, and he's out on Fields going forward at this point. He had a lot of hopes for him. He's like, we can't do this. But the good news is the Bears have their own first-round pick, and they have Carolina's next year, who's currently an 0-3 as well. And he's like, well, maybe they'll decide to kick the can down the road and get a QB in 2025. I go, you cannot do that. Like,
No.
They have to draft a quarterback next year, especially with the class that if all these guys come out, there's going to be options in the top 5 picks for probably a pretty darn good quarterback, I would think. So I was like, no, they can't do that. Like, if they have to take one next year, because Fields, like, he just looks lost out there.
They can't they will ruin Caleb Williams and his style. So if Caleb goes there, I think he's ruined. If they draft Drake May and put an offensive line around him a little bit, that is the quarterback they need. They need a big, sturdy quarterback like Herbert that can stand in the pocket. If they get Caleb Williams, they're going to Justin Fields all over this whole entire thing.
If the Bears have the first pick, I don't think Caleb Williams is like, he's going to pull an Eli and be like, I don't want to go there.
That, or he's just going to be like, California seems a little nice for another year.
Yeah, I'm already making $7 million in NIL. Like, who cares?
Also, Speaking of quarterbacks, you guys low-key kind of want to go out and buy Kyler, the way this offense looks.
Yes, I saw your offer to me, and I was like...
It's tempting. But Kyler, and everything I've seen from Kyler Murray, he looks like he's getting healthy very quick. Like, he's taking rehab seriously. He's staying away from Call of Duty. So that's a good thing.
It's because Call of Duty blows.
Yeah, it's bad now. So, but Kyler in this offense, the way it's being run, like, Doug, you brought up this coaching staff could be really good. Like, they could have actually gotten something right, which is a good sign. I actually went out and got Hollywood Brown for a second-round pick before yesterday. I did that because we're speaking of trends. I saw target share, and Hollywood Brown was getting a ton. They were doing short routes, and they were giving it to him deep. So I'm like, hey, this guy's getting 10 targets a game on this offense. Yeah, okay, we're good. Like, Dobbs is going to hit him. The only thing with Kyler is, can he stay healthy, and can he make the right play like Dobbs is doing? But if that's the case, like, Kyler right now is a 2024 first. If you're a contender and you kind of need that help, sign me up. I'll give it 24 late first for Kyler.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, the only thing we all say, like, oh, this class looks great, blah, blah, blah. If everyone comes out that's supposed to in 2024, that's a late 2024 first. It's probably going to be a really solid player. Are they going to be better than Kyler Murray? I don't know. We'll see. But I don't mind that
somebody on the Bears.
Yeah, I don't mind that value though. What? Another thing that I saw today.
Are you comfortable? And I want to jump in here real fast. I'm sorry.
Sure.
What are we comfortable giving away Justin Fields for? Like,
giving away
get much for him at this point?
If I could get, let's name some quarterbacks. Like Sam Howell, bad game. I still think I would take Fields personally. Just the rushing upside. But I know, Doug, you're thinking about it. I saw that face. You're kind of partial on that. I know you like Howell, but
I do like Howell.
That's where that's where we're at with Fields.
You could get Howell plus
Goff. You ain't getting for Fields. Like,
no,
that's
no.
That train has left the station.
Like, Ritter, you don't want Ritter. So you ain't doing that. Let's keep going. Like, Zach Wilson is dead, so we're not going to bring him up. Bill Belichick destroyed another Jets quarterback today. Like, that was the nail in the coffin for Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones or Justin Fields?
Daniel Jones.
Topic.
I mean, Daniel Jones looks Justin Fields bad.
Mm-hmm. He did last week, but the week before that, he looked great.
Did he though? I mean,
I
they
mean,
had
the comeback win against the Cardinals that just beat the Cowboys.
they had to come back. Like that's a
Yeah,
Daniel
but in
Jones
that
looked
comeback,
such-
he looked like an NFL quarterback. He didn't
That's
look like
true.
he didn't look lost.
I think I would take Daniel Jones. It's not a homer pick. I mean, you can't just wave the run first flag for Justin Fields because Daniel Jones also has been known to be a running quarterback.
My favorite part is a lot of people are going off Justin Fields, and if you guys remember earlier in the offseason, I did say I'd rather have Anthony Richardson than Justin Fields. Just
You did.
just due to the hey, there's still doubts with Justin Fields, and this coaching staff picked Anthony Richardson, so that is definitely on the question. You ain't getting that anywhere, like unless there's a diehard Bears fan that is related to Justin Fields. What other quarterbacks are there? Like Jimmy Garoppolo or Justin Fields?
I'd rather take Fields. Garoppolo.
Garoppolo looks good tonight to start. Kenny Pickett or Justin Fields?
Hmm.
There we go. I think we nailed that one.
I think that's where we found our mark.
There's
That's a
the
tough
mark.
one.
You
Maybe.
can't
I would probably go Fields.
okay.
Blaming it on the coaching staff, just like he is.
I mean, he's got to get another chance, right?
Maybe.
Like
I would
if-
give him another chance. He is a physical
send him
specimen.
send him to
But,
Atlanta,
like,
please.
Yeah, that would be a
Arth-
great fit.
Arthur Smith would enjoy the hell out of that. Like,
that would be an
It's a
upgrade.
very nice landing spot.
except
if
it'd
they
be a
did.
tough spot for Drake London and Kyle Pitts because Fields can't hit anybody.
And then they use their first round pick on Marvin Harrison Jr. You're good.
Oh God.
All right, and speaking
God.
of Anthony,
And never
Richardson,
throw the ball.
The
Yeah.
Colts, they beat the Ravens without Anthony Richardson.
This is bad.
Ravens have a lot of injuries,
Killed my parlay
but still,
this game.
I want to talk about Josh Downs. He's becoming a thing. He's the
Yes,
number
he
2
is.
target on the Colts, hands
Speaking of
down.
trends, speaking of trends,
It's
Yep.
Josh. I think he ran like 85% route participation. Had a solid game with Minshew. Alec Pierce. Like, he's
12
prob-
targets, most targets on the team, and
Yeah.
8 for 57. That is a startable player right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just picked him up in Scott Fishbowl. Someone cut him this week, and I was like, "Ooh, I'll pick up Josh Downs as a free agent because Scott Fishbowl is pretty thin for players." So I was able to grab him in Scott Fishbowl, and I was very excited. I didn't start him this week, but I was very excited to see the line that he put up. We all liked him coming out of North Carolina. He slipped in the draft quite a bit. We all thought he was a fringe first round pick, and he ended up going in the third round.
Yeah,
And,
some off the field issues.
No,
Maybe.
not that I remember, but
It was mainly
Loved his tape.
size.
yeah, he's a scrappy dude. He is.
He's fast on the outside.
Yeah, so I love seeing the usage for him. Zach Moss had a good game today. Again,
So
weird.
that brings up a good
So
question.
weird.
Like, what are we doing when Jonathan Taylor comes back?
Loving life if you traded for him.
Yeah.
Because if
'Cause
Zach
if-
Moss can do that, Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor's got at least a 25 to 30% juice on top of that.
Is the offensive line for Indianapolis a little bit better than we expected it to
Oh,
be?
Nelson is
And
back.
the weapons around the team, really. I mean, Pittman, Downs.
Pittman is
We're
playing
getting
bigger.
Moss and Jonathan Taylor. Like, I'm not saying
Pitt-
Moss is anything special, but
Yeah, Pittman's playing a lot bigger because that's his biggest issue is he plays weak. He's not.
well,
He's
they
a
were
big dude.
they misused him last year.
Yeah, and they're using him like Mike Williams. It feels like, and
yeah, he's a
when
bigger
Anthony,
physical
when
receiver this
Anthony
year.
Richardson Richardson comes back because Nelson at left guard, they were talking about on the broadcast like he's playing like his hair's on fire. He's playing like he did his rookie year.
Yeah, he
There was-
was not great last year.
There was a play where they were talking like because they needed that extra yard for Matt Gay to kick that field goal. Like they're like, you're gonna run behind Nelson because Nelson was literally like shaking back and forth, ready for the next play, and they had to wait for the time to go. And the announcer was like, "Look at Nelson, like going back and forth because he's antsy and he just wants to like run people over." And they did. They ran it behind him. They got what they needed, and then they kicked the game-winning field goal. So Colts, I think, could be for real, especially if Richardson could stay healthy. Because Minshew did not play great.
No, I'm a little concerned. So the Ravens' passing offense wasn't that great today, and there was no Odell Beckham Jr. And we saw Zay Flowers and Bateman. The whole passing offense stunk today.
Lamar looks like he doesn't know
He
the
ran his
offense.
butt off, which was great.
He looks like he doesn't know the offense completely yet. He looks like he's looking around like he's playing backyard ball when this offense needs like quick passing. Like we saw at Georgia, Stetson Bennett was like okay, 3-step drop, hit your back foot, the ball's
Balls
gone.
out. Yeah.
Like Lamar is like 3-step drop, run right, run left, and then the ball's out. Like this is a timing offense, so he's got to get used to that. And I do agree, Doug. I kind of worry about the passing offense because if Todd Monken is going to start getting blamed, like there could be some butting heads here.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think it's them learning the offense. Hopefully they'll hit their stride in the next few weeks and really get it going. Speaking about hitting their stride, welcome to my top 7 dynasty tight end group, Sam Laporta. James, you're not stealing this one, you bastard. Had the long touchdown today. He was second on the team in targets after Amon-Ra St. Brown. Laporta's the dude, man. I felt it. It was one of those things in my gut where I was like, I need to get Sam Laporta in all my leagues. I started him in a bunch of leagues today because tight end, again, isn't great. And guys like Laporta that are going to catch at least 5 balls a week and then have the potential to hit a long shot because he's got the speed to do it, was great to see. So I love seeing Laporta get worked in on that offense. I even think, even when Jameson Williams comes back, if he starts to slowly become a thing, Laporta is still going to be super duper consistent every single week.
That's another player I'm buying.
Jameson?
I'm back on. Like this team,
Really?
they are using Khalif Raymond as a speed merchant.
Yeah, Raymond
They
just
have
doesn't
used
have
a
the
lot of
mitts.
Khalif.
And I'm gonna tell you, they need that. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, they need to cut down the carries a little bit because every carry he took, I'm like, he's dead. Like he got split in half. Like, and the same with A-Chain. Like they need the 11, 12, 13 type carries to succeed because once they hit that 20 carries, it's like, oh God, like that's the warning.
You're holding your breath every time he gets hit.
And this offense needs explosiveness. Like they got Josh Reynolds out there running around. And if Jameson Williams comes back and is healthy and can stay healthy, oh man, like he could explode after the suspension's done.
It's going to be a lot of boom and bust, I think, from Williams. But the boom weeks are going to feel really
they're gonna
nice for
be
your team.
Huge.
Yeah.
He's like, if he breaks anything, he's getting a touchdown, especially in this offense. And by the way, Ben Johnson, he's a head coach next year. Like this, the way he's running this offense, there ain't no way they're going to be able to keep him.
Yeah, I mean
unless
they're
they pay him.
consistently scoring 30 points a game,
So,
which is no 70 points from the Miami Dolphins, but
Oh my
like it's
God.
30 points is pretty good. Can we talk about you said Sean Payton you're just going to stay in Miami? I mean, a team you don't usually see an NFL team just kind of roll over. The Broncos
Patrick Surtain did. Like on a lot of plays,
Yes.
Surtain was just like, okay, fuck it. I don't
I mean,
care.
it was nice to see Cortland Sutton have a good day at the office. Marvin Mims, dude, get that guy more
Yes.
freaking touches.
Talking about someone I picked up in Scott Fishbowl off the waiver wire. This
Cecil
week.
Lammy is connected with the Broncos, and he says every podcast he's on, get the kids more touches. Jill McLaughlin and Marvin Mims need to be more involved. Like, yeah, and Javonte is fine. He's still recovering, and he even said he doesn't look like he's in full game shape.
No.
But Jaleel McLaughlin, like, he's the pass catching, he's the Austin Eckler style type that they need in this offense, and they're not using him because he's a young rookie.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Chargers could use an Austin Eckler type because Josh Kelly
Can't
He
do
ain't it.
anything, man.
Herbert went
last
off,
2
though.
weeks he's been doo butter. Josh Kelly, I've started him in my flex in my redraft league because I was
The
like,
experiment's over.
The matchup
for
against
Josh
Minnesota is great. DeAndre Swift just tore them up. Like, it's going to be a high-scoring game. One of my props was Josh Kelly over half a touchdown. I was like, oh, he'll score for sure. No, he averaged like 1.5.
11 for 12.
He Josh
11
Jacobs did.
carries for 12
He
yards.
Josh Jacobs did this week. He was
Yeah.
So-
awful.
Herbert and this Kellen Moore offense, though, like, yes, I'm loving all of this. 400 passing yards, 40 for 47, and Keenan Allen had to take a passing touchdown away. Yeah,
20 targets for Keenan Allen. Absolutely. Keenan Allen is balling out this year.
he's
That
old
just
and
says something though that they can't run the ball without Austin Eckler on the field. So
It's
it's
a- I
more
think
the
it's a
same
talent thing.
coming into regardless. They are going to be a pass first, pass second team because they really don't have much. We even saw Isaiah Spiller get on the field, kind of looked better than
Can
Josh Kelly. Thank you. In some instances, anyway.
Sure.
can we get another trending? Zach Charbonnet might be a good time to go out and see if you can go
Yeah, I
purchase
like-
him for pretty cheap.
I liked what I
Yeah.
saw from Zach Charbonnet today. He looked good. I mean, Ken Walker steals the headlines with the 2 touchdowns, right? But
And passing.
Ken
like,
Walker
3
looked
for-
great
he
receiving
made
today.
some awesome cuts today. Ken Walker was like, "Yoink, see you later!" Like
It's
hitting
Michigan
the
State
outside.
Ken Walker.
He looked
We
really,
can't
really
talk
good.
about Michigan State right now, but I mean Michigan State Ken Walker.
The guy that just doesn't catch passes decided to catch some passes today.
We
Yeah,
worried about
Zach's-
are we worried about JSN at all?
Oh, by
No.
him.
No,
He
why?
I'm not.
had a yards after catch play. It wasn't much, but man, he can stop instantly and get going. Like he's the Bijan of receivers. Like
He
it
can
was
stop
like
on a dime and give you 5 cents change.
it was like, oh shit, like this guy's gonna be great when he gets on the field. But
he's
DK
going to be great, but
DK
we have to
Metcalf's
wait on
having a
it
hell
for
of
it
a-
to really. Yeah,
DK
exactly.
Metcalf starting off the year very good on a play. Speaking of players that could be like James Williams, inconsistent, like up and down. DK, he's having a consistent start of the year.
He had a
So
great first half. He faded away in the second half today. But
yeah.
good overall stats.
Speaking of fading Cowboys, we gonna fade.
Rico Dowdle, baby, my free pickup in all leagues. Looks pretty good. Here's the thing. They don't have a depth on that running back thing. So I was like, well, let me pick up Rico Dowdle. He's the clear number 2. If Tony Pollard gets hurt, I mean, they'd probably sign like a Leonard Fournette or something dumb or trade for somebody because they're the Cowboys. But like Rico Dowdle looks good. His balance and just running tough today. Even in a game where the Cowboys were losing. And James Conner,
Who
like
would have thought?
the
I sat him in a league.
ugliest girl in the
Me
room.
too. Me
There's
too.
nothing sexy about James Conner. Dude just produces. We all thought
Brian
like Arizona's
Robinson,
going to be
too.
awful. Like Conner over 100 total yards and a touchdown. Like he just looks good.
Brian Robinson is the new James Conner. I'm calling it. Just somebody that's unsexy, and you're just like, how in the hell is this guy doing this? Like,
That's fair.
it shouldn't happen.
Michael
Nobody
Gallup
wants him.
even came alive in that game.
I was just seeing that. Yeah.
6 for 92, and he was running strong, pushing some people around, getting the edge on the outside. Looked a little bit better than in the past, so I'm excited to see that. Not totally bought in yet.
You
though.
guys worried about Trevor Lawrence?
No,
Really?
no, it's a
hasn't
chemistry
been-
thing.
It's
That's
been
what I was worried until I went back and watched the game.
I mean, your boy Evan Ingram had a good game, but yeah, Calvin Ridley, 2 kind of duddish type weeks.
He could not hold on to the ball. He was out of sync.
He's checking his prize
And then
picks.
Lawrence was rushed. I'm telling you, this Houston defensive line, they put the Jags on their heels.
Yeah, Will Anderson.
That field goal block, dude, was like 10 feet up in the air. I was like, bro, like what a freak athlete that kid
So
is.
if Houston hits on Stroud, and honestly, I think they've hit on Anderson, just the impact plays he's made on defense, because what Will Anderson is doing, he's allowing the linebackers and secondary just do their thing.
Mhm.
So I think they've hit on both their picks, and people are saying, hey, their pick could be early. I think we're looking at 15, 16, 17-ish range for Houston.
Yeah, I mean that would be them going like 7-10.
Yeah. And I mean,
I can
this,
see that.
this division's up in the air, especially if Jacksonville can't get their shit together, and Tennessee doesn't look good.
Yeah, Bigsby, I know he vultured a touchdown today, but he didn't look good otherwise. Like he had an egregious drop in the game. And ETN looked pretty good for the most part. With
So
his
are we-
touches.
Are we believing in Jordan Love? Doug, are you believing in Jordan Love?
I mean, hell of a comeback today. I mean, here's the thing with Jordan Love. If you believe in Love long term, the good news is he's doing all this without his best offensive weapon in Christian Watson.
Yes.
And he's doing it without Aaron Jones.
Yep.
AJ Dillon in the run game is balls.
Hey,
he's not good.
Can we go back to AJ
Stinky.
Dillon? Can we go back to AJ?
Stinky.
Hey, James, you want to go back to AJ Dillon and our little arguments and how you were telling me he's good?
He hasn't looked good thus far.
And I said he runs like he's in cement.
He can run through cement though because
You've
his
got it
legs are
so
thick.
far. Yep, you're winning
So
that one.
far, that sounds like a man that is a Justin Fields fan and thinks he's
You know,
the
I'm gonna
fridge.
say you asked me. I'm gonna say I'm in on Jordan Love because his top 2 weapons have been out. Jaden Reed has played well.
Stud.
Romeo Dobbs has looked good. Musgrave has looked good. This offense is set up for.
Musgrave dropped a big one today.
He did.
He's had a couple
Yeah.
drops, but he's also been very this whole tight end class
Except for Michael Mayer.
who is
get
not
back.
getting used. Yeah, he's not
He'll
getting
get back.
used.
I'm not worried about it. So yeah, I'm in on Jordan Love. I mean, this comeback today was great. He had the rushing touchdown. He showed the mobility that he has out of the pocket, which was great to see. And, he looks like, my bold prediction is that he'd finish as a QB1 this year. So far, so good.
He's made some dumb throws. He's made a couple
He
made a couple dumb plays. And then there are some plays where you look and you have to be like, is that 12? Is that 12 behind the line? Like, there's a couple. He throws just like Rodgers used to. I don't know if it's
he can throw at different arm angles too. I've noticed.
And like that one throw to Jaden Reed, like it was. I don't know how Love saw him, but he threw it, and Reed, of course, with a nice diving catch. But I mean, he's gaining a connection with these young guys, and like you said, when Christian Watson comes back, who knows what this offense can do?
Yeah.
And Aaron Jones.
And Reed could have had a bigger game. He had a contested. He caught it in the end zone, and then looks like he had it, and then the ground kind of caused it to pop out. He could have had a touchdown.
It's going to be Detroit and Packers for the North. Minnesota.
Yeah, Vikings at 0-3 is not a good sign.
Kirk Cousins, one of the best. Like Kirk Cousins, I told somebody today they need to sign Jefferson to whatever he wants. Sign him to whatever contract he wants. Re-sign Cousins, and then build around those guys. Keep Cousins for 3 years. If you hit on a quarterback in like the third or fourth round,
go for Kellen Mond.
Yeah, like oh god. Like keep drafting quarterbacks in like the third or fourth round. Keep stockpiling them, seeing if you can hit. And if you don't, oh well. But have Kirk for 3 more years, because if you can get,
they just need to build defense
and offensive line. And I mean, Jordan Addison looks like a perfect number 2, but woof. Like, it is not Kirk Cousins' fault at all. He's
no, that offensive line is just
the fumble. The fumbles have killed them. Like Hawkinson's fumble, like Madison's fumbles, like the Jefferson fumble last week out of the end zone.
drops. The
ship will right for them, but
if you didn't see it, Derwin James hit Kirk Cousins on a play where I thought Kirk was never going to land. Like, he was in the air for so long. I thought he was just gone. Like
the little movie where the kid jumps off the trampoline and just goes infinitely into the air. Like,
yes, 100%. I like Derwin James smoked him.
Yeah, James is an absolute beast. But yeah, I think the Vikings. I mean, it's not that their season is over. They've been in all the games. They haven't gotten blown out, and they've been scoring points. It's just they got to reduce the turnovers to kind of get back to where they need to be.
But for fantasy, Kirk Cousins is nice.
Oh, you love Cousins for fantasy. Yeah, he's my redraft QB, and I have him in a dynasty league.
I have him in Scott Fishbowl stacked with Justin Jefferson.
I do want to go over one player that we were all like, the whole community was very high on, Jahan Dotson.
Ooh, yeah, he's been quiet.
3 games straight of just quietness. They are, I mean, we already talked about Brian Robinson. He looks good. Like, this offense looks like it's just revolved around him. Howell had a 4-interception game.
It was a tough game for Howell.
The Bills
4 interceptions and 1 fumble, and they were all on Howell.
Yeah, the Bills were definitely playing their ass off.
Bills defense just crushed them.
James Cook, 3 good games in a row. It's happening, people. Like, it's happening. I have been just blue-chewed full for 3 straight weeks.
Call your doctor. 3 straight weeks?
After 3 weeks?
It's the bleats.
I thought it was after 4 weeks.
I got to return these pants to the pants.
Is he currently running back 9? Is that what's going on?
I don't know, but also Gabe Davis, I think if you can get any, like, I get he's caught 2 touchdowns. He's a touchdown guy. I really like him for a wide receiver 3 for your team, and I still think his value.
He's that boomer bust guy.
Big time.
See, is he though?
Yes, he is. I've had him since he's been a rookie.
Consistent.
He's a boomer bust guy.
Boomer bust.
It's all about catch percentage. If he can catch most of his passes to him, which I get are deeper throws and less percentage throws. I know the footballers mentioned his catch percentage, but if that can bump up to like 10% more, he's going to have a wide receiver 2 season.
Yeah, but he did it today. He only had 25% catch percentage. He had 4 targets and 1 reception that luckily went for a touchdown. I've been following Davis. I like him as a player. I enjoy watching him. But for fantasy, I think I'm trying to get off the merry-go-round because I dealt with this all last year. And it seems like every time he has a good game, everybody wants to go get him. And then he turns off so fast, like a flip of the switch, man. And you're like, crap, I went out and acquired Gabe Davis, and now I'm stuck with him.
But
boomer bust.
You're not paying last year's prices. Like me, I felt like I didn't pay much. I gave up a late second and Jake Ferguson for Gabe Davis and Terrace Marshall in a league. Like, to me, that was way better than giving up a late first last year, which I was doing because I've been a Gabe Davis fan for a while. But yeah,
I can't see giving up anything more than a late second for him now.
Yeah,
No,
agreed.
I'd do mid. Like, honestly, like this wide receiver class is kind of proving me wrong because a lot of the mid-second receivers like Josh Downs and Marvin Mims are
Reed.
hitting, like Jaden Reed. And
Yeah.
I mean, look at Puka. Puka's hitting. He was a third, fourth rounder.
Mhm.
So what we're learning today is everybody that said draft late round running backs that have a chance to jump up in the late second, early third, and pass on these receivers
Yep.
are kicking themselves for passing on these receivers because they are smashing.
Yeah, Tank is another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tank.
Tank Dell.
I mean, maybe it's time we just go with draft capital. Like, just look at the team's draft capital, like we've always said
For wide
this-
receiver.
Oh,
That's why I targeted Jaden Reed. He was a early second or mid second round pick.
Yeah.
And I got him in the early third, late second a lot of times.
Hey,
and I was like,
I
the
have
team's
no-
invested in him.
I have no Jane Reed, and my reasoning
I have
was
one share.
I wasn't a fan of the tape. He's a 23-year-old receiver that just came out of nowhere, so I had no shares. But there was one player I did like, and that was Puka, and that was because, like I mentioned last week, the campus to Canton leagues,
Mhm.
those help out so much with your recruiting. Like, if you're part of one, you're keeping track of the college game, even just watching a little bit of college here and there. Like, these players you'll remember a little bit. Marvin Mims, big time college player, like
Yep.
huge college player.
Making impact plays in the NFL when he gets the
Jo-
ball in his hands.
Josh Downs, big time at North Carolina. I mean, he had Howell and he had Drake May. Like, these are players you got to keep track. Players that can produce year after year. That we just need to keep.
Speaking of rookie players, Mingo hurt today, concussion.
yeah, he got
Yep.
smoked. I saw that.
Yeah.
They said, "What is your name?" And he said, "Mingo is my name-o."
How about Rashid Shaheed with that run back, huh? Our favorite
Hey.
player here on the show now.
He's fun to watch. I can't
is.
stand. I can't.
The
stand
number 22 though is
22.
weird.
Can't
It's so weird.
stand it.
Like, well, Mark Ingram looks really fast.
Jimmy Grandpa got into the end zone today.
So,
Yeah, he did.
Doug, there's one
Wild.
thing I do want to ask you.
Sure.
Mac Jones. What did he say? What did Mac Jones say to C.J. Mosley and Sauce that got him on the floor?
Mac can be a little bit of a punk from
Oh yeah,
his history with Brian Burns. Remember that from last year or the year before in his rookie year? Supposedly, like, he hit Sauce in the junk was the rumor. Like,
Oh,
I don't know if there's any video of it, but that's the rumor that I guess he took a low blow on Sauce and like tried to like maybe dick flick him or something. I don't know. But
Dip the nuggets in the sauce.
so
yeah, can we-
honestly, I believe it because
Oh, so do I.
Remember that play when he tried to trip somebody and then didn't he try to
Brian
kick somebody in
Burns.
the junk? Yeah,
It was Brian Burns. Yeah, it was Brian Burns in his rookie year. Hey, speaking of the Jets, run game, oof, yikes. I know the Patriots defense is good, but Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook struggle bus today. Bad.
Brees
yeah.
still looks good. It's literally this offense is putrid. It is a bad
I mean,
offense.
Breece had big games with Zach though last year.
I mean, Bill looks at this offense and goes, "Okay, we are stopping the run game, and we're gonna let Zach beat us."
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
that is
I would do
never
too.
going to happen. Zach is never going to be anything. Whoever actually tried to trade a second for Zach Wilson, thinking he's gonna miraculously come back to life and be Aaron Rodgers' disciple, like, no, that ain't happening. He's bad. He's not it. Zach, like, Tyson Bagent is a better football player than Zach Wilson.
Great buy window right now. for Garrett
100%.
Wilson.
That's why I brought him up.
Yeah.
And like Tyson Bagent, there's a chance he could start from week 10 on.
Oh, the kid on the Bears. Yeah.
Oh yeah, who we saw at the combine, and I remember thinking to myself, I really like his release. I really like what he's doing here. So, and he's that arm. What is it? The arm wrestling. His dad's an arm wrestler, professional arm wrestler.
He puts his hat on backwards. He's like a truck.
Yeah.
Put my head on backwards. Little Stallone over the top reference for all you
Oh,
old people
God.
out there
Yeah,
like
I was
me.
gonna say.
I got you. His name was Lincoln Hawk, I think. I have a son named Lincoln, not named after over the top Lincoln Hawk. It's just a fun
Speaking
fact.
of old people, Adam Thielen taking
Yeah, 2 weeks
taking
in a
the
row.
time
He's
machine.
looked pretty good. Had
Yeah,
him on the
that-
bench in one league, and I was like, fudge.
Mhm.
Honestly, like guys like that and Michael Thomas are such good buys for contenders right now. Michael Thomas staying healthy is something we should talk about this point of the season. The fact that he's actually still playing.
I really want to see more of what's going to happen with Carr and Jameis Winston with Michael Thomas could be a big connection, but I'm not worried about Olave in that offense at all.
Yeah. So my last thing I do want to mention, my heart is out to Derek Carr because of his eyeliner and the issues he will have putting that on. Thank goodness he has them tattooed on already. I'm pretty sure. So
He just goes back in for more laser, dude. He's fine.
he should
Just
be
gonna
in the
take
clear.
a couple
He
weeks
doesn't-
off.
Yeah, he doesn't need a shoulder to do that. Doug, you got anything else you want to mention?
No, I think we covered it. That was some of my observations this week, and I'm looking forward to see what next week brings. Because the more weekly data that we have, the more and more I get excited for
Kyle Pitts, 9 targets. Come on, get those fuckers caught.
more
Give Zach
buy and sell
Charbonnet
windows.
15 carries, please.
I'm so pissed about fucking Desmond Ritter. If you can't tell, like
You seem upset.
I
it's
would.
it's fucking embarrassing when I'm begging for Taylor Heineke.
You know what? You know what else is embarrassing, Tyler? Is when you don't have a cropped man beard down below, and you know how you should do that. Just take care of it. Is go on Manscaped.com, use code DHH, save yourself 20% off because there's nothing more embarrassing when you go to have some intimate time with your lady and she's like, "Bro, can you trim that down?" And you know what? The beautiful thing about trimming it down, this is a fun fact. It makes it look bigger. I'm just saying.
Hey.
You
Hey.
gain a little bit of length. It's a visual. It's you can be like a magician. It's called Dick Magic. Just
A
do
magician?
it on Manscaped.com.
Grr.
Did you say Medition? Mediction?
Mediction. Yeah.
Mediction?
So check out Manscaped. Use code DHH. Save 20%.
My
off.
Mediction for the season.
It's bold Mediction.
Bold Mediction. Bold Mediction.
Oh, boy.
This bold Mediction brought to you by Manscaped.
This is gonna be the biggest Mediction I've ever had.
Oh my god. And yeah, we're off the rails. No, that's all I got. I think that's gonna wrap us up this week. Shout out to Underdog, Trophy Smack, and Manscaped, and also shout out to the Dynasty Nerds. You can check out their website. They've got all sorts of cool tools. Rich and team doing yeoman's work over there. And check out Viridian Global if you're looking for a hoodie. It is hoodie season. Maybe a girl steals it. If she does, then just buy another one. Thank you in advance.
Travis Kelce, make sure you got some hoodies lined up.
I like as soon as he scored, the camera was like, boom, Taylor Swift. What's she doing?
She's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
She was going crazy.
Wonder
Yeah.
what Mama Kelsey thinks of that whole thing because she was kind of on. It looked like she's on the fence a little bit.
looked
Oh,
on the
Mama
dress.
Kelsey's all about that.
She's like, oh, Travis is all about himself. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't watched the show Kelsey yet, so. No
So I heard it's good, but do you think Mama Kelsey's just keeping her mouth shut because she doesn't want to end up on a song? She's just like, I ain't saying anything. I'm not ending up on a fucking song.
Yeah, I mean that's probably not. I mean, if you end up on a song though, you're immortalized for all of time, so that's
That's
not
true.
a terrible thing, I guess.
And you're probably a top 5 hit of the
and then
week.
you can sue for royalties.
Not with her panel of lawyers. You ain't getting anything.
No, that's true. That's an ironclad thing. But yeah, that's I love how it's like, oh, Travis Kelce scores, and then it was immediately
They
to
go
show Taylor
instantly.
Swift
Zoom in to Taylor Swift.
in the box. I was like, oh my god, really? But anywho, yeah,
so
that
many
was fun.
memes. So
That
many.
was fun. All right, well, that's going to wrap us up this week for the Dynasty Happy Hour. For James, for Tyler, for me, we'll see you guys in week 4 with all the new information.